It's Lisa from Been There, Got Out. And today's Instagram Live, if it works properly, we'll have two guests, which are part of the same group called My Divorce Solution. It's Karen and Catherine. And I just got off with Karen. So I'm hoping that I can get everyone on and there's no crazy glitches. And this works. And I send the request if this works. Up, she is. Okay, Catherine, I see you. I don't know if it's going to let me invite you on. Hi, Karen. Okay.
Hello.
I'm like, let's see. All right, if Catherine, if you can like send an invite, let's see. I mean, a request. Let's see if that works. I'm afraid to touch the screen because I don't want to lose you, Karen. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining today. I have to give credit to Tracy Malone, our friend, who introduced us, because she must have known that you are on the absolute same page as I am in terms of empowering people through education. And I love what you do, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let you talk about it. So why don't you introduce yourself and My Divorce Solution and tell us what you do.
All right. So I'm Karen Shalou. I'm one of the co-founders of My Divorce Solution. And so what we do is based on mine and Catherine's personal and business experience, having gone through our own divorce. We realized that there was a gap between the legal requirements and the financial analysis when going through a divorce. So we decided to make a difference and change the way people get divorced by helping them prepare. So we have created an online divorce preparation platforms that takes couples and or individuals through the process and the exercise of preparing for divorce, so that by the time they're ready to engage mediators or attorneys, and sometimes even before they're ready to talk to their spouse about it, they know what they have, what it means in the legal space, what it means in the financial space, and are really ready to make informed financial decisions. And it kind of minimizes or neutralizes that emotional component that sometimes just rules that whole experience.
Yeah, and as you're talking, I'm thinking also in the leverage space. So you know that our community are people dealing with high conflict ex-partners. And often in those situations, well, we know 99% of abusive relationships, there's financial abuse.
Yeah.
And in our experience, that includes hiding finances or just telling people, you are not entitled to this money because I'm the one who worked outside of the home, or a myriad of reasons why they don't deserve as much money. And so a lot of times people walk away from what they might be entitled to because they don't realize what they're entitled to. And because the other person already has a certain level of authority over them, they tend to believe it without actually seeking the information for themselves. Do you find that?
Absolutely. And I'm going to say a high percentage of our clients are in that space where we often hear, well, he said this is the way it works, or she said I can't have that, or this is every financial discussion is based on what he said or she said. And so we just respond to that and say, okay, duly noted, but guess what? That person isn't making decisions for you anymore. And this is how it is. These are your options, and you get to take the steps of deciding for yourself whether you want to take what they want and apply it to your options, or if you just want to have your own division scenarios and move forward in that way. Because at the end of the day, the financial dissection of sorts of the marital estate is very much a transaction. It's not, it really isn't emotional, even though historically everybody thinks that it is. You know, they want to qualify why they deserve this or why they deserve that. At the end of the day, it is what it is, and this is what you're dividing, and this is what you have access to. So, yay.
Yeah, I have two thoughts listening to you. One is something that we deal with all the time and is a big part of what we do, is getting that person's voice out of our client's head.
Mhm.
The voice saying, this is how it's going to be, this is what you deserve and don't deserve. So that's what you do as well. Like, it's not an emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's clinical. Sometimes there are formulas, sometimes there aren't. And the other thing was the first statement you said duly noted. And I'm like, why don't you tell people a tiny bit about your background?
So my background is 30 years in litigation every day, all day, working with the attorneys. I'm not an attorney, but I was a paralegal, prepping them for court. And so I understand the back end of the legal system. I understand how it works. I understand how attorneys think and what the industry or what the courts expect from the clients coming in. So when I said duly noted, that definitely is from my experience. And then I manage the law firm. So I totally get the intimidation of an attorney. But at the end of the day, you know, the attorneys are just trying to do their best for you. And if you're able to come to the table informed and not and in the know, they can do a much better job of advocating for you.
Okay, right. And speaking of that, I think when I first talked to you and Catherine, I told you that one thing, which we turned into a post, but one thing that that we have felt and that a number of our clients feel is that their own lawyers sometimes are giving them PTSD. They are so stressed out. So I was really impressed with how you two advocate for your clients sometimes. And I feel like I'm jumping ahead of myself, but
Yeah.
just what you said, with your background and everything else, can you talk about how you really help your clients sort of stand up to their attorneys, among other things?
Yeah. So attorneys have a mandate, right? They're risk managers. They have a license to protect. They have to follow all of the rules and procedures set out by the local courts and the bar associations and all of that. And frankly, most attorneys are not financially trained. So when they are not in that space of knowing, then they're going to then quickly revert to, well, this is what the court's going to say, and this is what the judge is going to say, and this is what, you know, we're not going to get a judge to allow you to have X, Y, or Z. And often we'll say, well, we're actually not in court right now. So, you know, this is something I want, so I'd like to negotiate that. And so helping to kind of redirect them is really important. And we do get on the phone with our clients' attorneys as soon as we're hired, if attorneys are involved, because it does then help the attorneys know the financial assistance that our clients are getting, but it also kind of puts everybody in the loop. And then we're able to ask very pointed questions because of our experience in litigation, that, you know, we're able to use the buzzwords that they can relate to, right? Clients have no idea what those buzzwords are, but we're able to use them to signal that we know what we're talking about and we know what our client is really entitled to in the legal system, so that they don't get shut down and shut out and made to feel like they're less than, or that they don't have a say, or that they're asking stupid questions, or that they want stupid things. We kind of reset the foundation of their path forward with their attorneys, because a lot of people think, oh, I just need a new attorney. Well, that's not going to solve the issue. It really isn't. You being informed in the know, knowing what you want, knowing what you're entitled to, and being able to stand in that space from a place of knowing gets you forward and saves money, because you're not thinking it's your attorney's issue. It's actually not that. They're actually just doing what attorneys do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys also believe in what we think too is the best way to help clients in situations like this is to have a team approach. So like you said, the lawyer's job is to translate their case into the law, but they might not have that financial expertise. And there's a financial person, and you know, there might be friends and family, and then there might be a high conflict divorce coach to help get them ready. But you do the same thing, like you want to make your clients be the best client they can for their attorney to get the best outcome for the client. So we love working with people who are collaborative and don't have what I've heard is called the Messiah complex. Like lawyers who think I'm the only
Yeah.
one who knows anything about this case, it's mine. Have you ever had any pushback with being on it, that team approach, like all working together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because at first, to many attorneys, they haven't heard of us, even though we're in all 50 states. You know, there are attorneys who haven't heard of us, and they, you know, feel that we're getting into their space and what are these people doing here. But typically after a call and we have conversations and we let them know that we're here for our client, we're here to assist them if they want it, they definitely engage with us, because what clients don't realize is you are the client. You get to make the decisions. You get to hire the divorce professionals you want on your team. And so, you know, actually, I was just on a call maybe a month ago with an attorney who really pushed back. And he was telling the client on the phone with me that she could get a refund of her money. And I said, well, no, wait a minute. She hired us, and this is why she hired us. So we can work with you or not work with you, but we're going to do our job that we were hired to do. And so I started asking questions like, okay, we're going to trial. Are these things done? Are these calculations done? And he wasn't able to say yes. And so then he said, well, can you help with that? Well, of course, that's what we do. Then all of a sudden things changed. And so that happens a lot. You know, an attorney will say, well, we're going to mediation now. Well, you don't have enough documentation to go to mediation. So when we're on the phone, we're saying, well, don't you think it will be more productive if we actually have the document so that our client can make really good decisions? Okay, well, we'll ask for a continuance. So most clients don't even know that they have that authority as a client, but they do, because you're the client. And so offering that space to be in the know, to be informed, and to be able to negotiate for what you want and from the space of what you're entitled to is incredible. And we're just so happy to be able to help those people who come to us.
Yeah, and so this is why I thought this would be such a good interview, is because I think I told you there's an attorney that we partner with in Canada named David Morneau, and we've done a series with him called The Client as Consumer, and it's exactly about what you're talking about. You know, making people understand that they're the ones in charge. Like David says that sometimes people spend more time researching an appliance than they do the professionals helping them get through like the most difficult period of their life. So it is really important to understand who you're working with, what needs to be done, and get whatever help you need, you know, and to have informed professionals. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So again, like I am so appreciative to know there's resources like you that also help empower people to see like, yes, I do have authority here. I'm not just going to be led by my attorney or led by another professional who doesn't have to live with the consequences.
Right. That's so true. And even right down to selecting an attorney. Most people select an attorney based on who their friend used or who their realtor used or their mortgage advisor used. At the end of the day, you need an attorney who's very specifically has experience in your most critical issues. So whether it's custody or whether it's complex financial or whether it's high conflict, you know, family law is so broad. The family law attorneys have to know so many areas of law. It's impossible, frankly. So you need to know what your specific areas of expertise that you really need, and then find an attorney who can respond to that. And everything else, of course, they would have experience. I had a client who had a prenup that she needed reviewed, and I think her realtor referred an attorney to her. And so we were on a call, and she said, you know, I don't think this attorney is very good. And I looked up the attorney and I said, well, she has zero experience in prenups, and she's been practicing law for 1 single year in family law. She was a prosecuting criminal attorney probably for 5 or 6 years. I said, this attorney's just not for you, and that's why you're not connecting. So let's go find someone that you need in that space. And sometimes, you know, they have other attorneys in their law firm that, will do the other ancillary issues, whether it's real estate or contract law or whatever it may be. But really understanding how to find an attorney is super important than who your friends used or who, some other professional used. That's a friend in their B2B group. That's, a lot of times we find that, and that's when the attorney-client relationship will crash and burn.
Okay, so even though this is your interview, you just completely opened the door for me to plug our book, which has a chapter in there exactly about that, how to choose the right attorney and how important it is to choose the right attorney, because they are going to be they're going to have an intimate relationship with you for probably quite a while, especially if your case is like one of ours. And it's important to know the right questions to ask, but also what to expect from that relationship. Yeah. But I want to get back to you. So one of the things that that happens to people coming out of toxic relationships, which is the audience that's watching this now, is they have been in these coercively controlled situations where they've given their authority, like I said, to another person without realizing it. And so they come out and they have a lot of problems making decisions. Especially during a time when they have to make significant decisions. And we know that divorce and separation and custody battles are very emotional times, so you don't have good judgment. And it's hard to make these big decisions. And just today we were talking to someone who was like, I can't even look at discovery because I'm just freaking out and my lawyer's getting fed up with me, but I just can't deal with it. So how do you help people in these situations when they're so emotional? How do you help them through what you do learn to make better decisions and to get less emotional?
Oh, thank you so much for asking that question. So the beauty of our preparation platform is it takes it all the way back to a step by step by step. We actually don't even really allow you to get ahead of yourself unless you've got a trial date that's right there in front of you. Because taking the steps, even right on the launch call, once you hire us, we do a launch call, people will say, I feel so relieved. And we want you to stay in that space of relief and take the next step of learning through the exercise. And so it's very formulated and structured that you're taking specific steps, having specific conversations to own the information for yourself. We're not going to own it for you. We're going to be right there assisting you the whole time. We do have a team at My Divorce Solution, but we help you really feel confident in knowing information. Typically, one of the first steps, probably the second or third, is when you're building out your income and expense, and people are terrified of that. And typically the first couple minutes, it's a confessional. Oh, I spend a lot of money on shoes, or I don't know my budget. It's completely okay, because it's not, we come from the space of you don't have to know, but you're going to learn. And so wherever you have your hiccups, we'll specifically support you in that space. But by the time you get through the divorce preparation platform, you know what you have, you own your information. You can change it or not change it. You can change your spending habits. Like, that's not for us to decide for you. Our role is to take you through the exercises of knowing, so that when you're in a space with your attorney or your spouse who's saying all these things to you, all these daily threats in text, you know how to respond, you know how to own the information, and you know whether it's relevant to you or not. A lot of people say, I get their spouses too, but they get all this information and they don't know if it's an emergency or if it's just something that they need to tell us, and it's okay. You can still sleep at night, because it's all the same to them in that space. It's all emergent. So we're able to help parse that out and help you know when you should need to reply, when you don't need to reply, so that you start to just feel more confident in your ability to communicate about the future of your life.
Yeah, we have something similar, not in finances, but of course in dealing with the court process.
Yeah.
But I also really like that in what you do, you're able to calm people down, because you're providing the clarity that they need, that they might not get from an attorney over this specific area. So I was thinking of saying, like, we talked about how one of the main topic of this interview is like how money is power, and that financial awareness can help you do better during your divorce or separation. But I'm going to change the question into because you've talked a bit about that. What are the dangers in not being financially aware?
Oh my goodness. Do we have all day? The
Count
dangers
the
of
ways.
not the dangers of not being financially aware is being in a perpetual state of anxiety and panic, right? Because you don't know what to do with the information coming at you. You don't know where to put it. You don't know what it means to you. That's in the immediate now. But even moving forward, you have no ability to decide if you're getting good information, if your attorney is telling you correct information, and maybe they think they are telling you correct information, but attorneys aren't financially trained. So they're only able to speak to you from their lens of experience. And every case is unique to itself. So, I'll just give an example. We had a case where it was an older couple and the spouse's pension was in pay status, meaning he was retired and already receiving his pension. And that was their future cash flow. Our client's attorney said, well, it's in pay status, so there's nothing we can do. We have the experts that our county has used for years and years, and you don't have access to this. It's not divisible. She came to us. She was so upset. And we had to help the attorney understand that actually it was divisible. And we had to get to the other expert, who then conceded that it was divisible. Actually, the client's attorney didn't tell her that the spouse had hired the other expert. But in any event, at the end of the day, it was her income for the rest of her life. And she would have had no idea, because the attorney said, right? The attorney said, this is how it is.
And we
even on the phone with us.
listen to our attorney, because they're the authority now, right? You think that's my attorney, they know what's best.
Yeah. So when you're in the know, and she had done her portrait with us, she was confident enough to say, well, you know what, I don't really agree. And I think we need to take additional steps to clarify where there seems to be a hiccup here. And so we did that. We got on the phone with the attorney and we got it settled out. But that happens in spades with us.
That is amazing.
All kinds of things.
Think of how much money you might have saved this person just with that one thing, with her having the ability to question. Not to say you're wrong, but like, let's look further.
Yeah. And frankly, that's all you can do. When attorneys are involved, they are the lead advisor. But being able to ask really good questions and ask for the supporting documentation so that you can go get a second opinion, or so that you can look at it for yourself, whether you're selling a home, or whether you're dividing retirement accounts, or whether there's business ownership. Sometimes attorneys are just very accustomed to managing the division of those assets in a very specific way, because that's how they always do it. But it may not be the best way for you, or the most financially accurate way for you. And we can truthfully say that for whatever you pay to be prepared, you're saving that times 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the long run. Yeah.
Yep,
it's
relate
crazy.
to that too.
Yeah.
We often tell our clients too, like that, we can help you use your attorney more efficiently. So you end up saving so much money on top of time and energy, and you get all the support, but you are saving money because you understand what's going on. You don't have to lean on that person as much, because like you're saying, everybody has their areas of expertise, and sometimes everything, when you don't know better, you'll ask your lawyer everything. And we know from interviewing lawyers all the time, they're like, we don't need to answer like, that's not a question for us. That's an emotional question. For you, like, that's a financial question. I don't need to answer that. You pay me for other things.
That's so true. I was in a, this happens a lot, you know, where your attorney wants you to go to mediation or a settlement conference, or just, we don't need that documentation. Well, I kind of know how this is all going to play out. So just recently, we were working with a family and they were at a settlement conference. Attorney comes back and says, you know, it's a pretty good offer. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. So you can take it, or if you don't take it, we're going to have to go to trial. So, you know, I said to the client, absolutely not. Sometimes it's close enough. Like, we get it. And like, this is what you're up against, but this one, no way. And, you know, I helped her speak to the attorney in a way, well, I really just want to see these documents. If you can inspire spouse to provide these documents, I'll consider the offer, knowing full well that wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So the documents were subpoenaed later, and she ended up with $2 million more than she would have had. So, you know, your attorney can't decide for you where you're going to be fine or not. That's for you to decide. You can decide if you want to walk away and say, I don't want that, but you need to know what's available to you in the first place, and then the time and money you want to expend getting it. But it's all about knowing, and then you get to decide what you want to do from there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, having that clarity and understanding instead of always feeling like I could have done better, maybe, you know, niggling at you for such a long time.
Yeah.
Any other common ways or any other common mistakes by not knowing, or like damages that could happen from not knowing what's going on financially with your own case?
Well, one thing I like to really inspire people to do is not to negotiate anything until you feel like you have enough information and documents to start negotiating. And this is especially in these high conflict areas where, you know, he really wants to keep his pension and I told him I wouldn't touch it. Or we signed this temporary agreement. That's a big deal. It's not just a temporary agreement in some cases. You sometimes don't even know what you signed, but it could have
a lot of the time
lasting effects. So yeah, so be able to, you know, really being able to stay in a space of, I want to learn, I want to go through this exercise and know, and then. So it's not saying no. It's not saying no, I won't do that, or no, no, what you say is wrong. It's just, I want to do this first, and then I'll circle back to you. And take the time. It's so important, and it's worth it. And in most cases, and 99%, I can't think of a case where it is, but divorce is not an emergency. It really isn't. It may feel like it, but it is not.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're saying divorce. You're not saying getting away from the person.
Right.
It's the divorce. And I think about also with that how for a year I was like, oh, I can't wait to get the divorce because then it's going to be different, and it wasn't.
Right.
It really wasn't. It was a piece of paper, and then there was still part two, you know, post separation abuse and legal stuff and all that. It didn't end. So yes, I hear you about the divorce is generally not an emergency.
Yeah.
Because what are you rushing to do next?
Yeah, probably defend an agreement that's carelessly put together because you wanted it to be over, but you didn't understand the financial impact of that agreement.
Yeah. I mean, paralleling that, we see parenting plans thrown together to get this over with and ends up back in litigation all the time. Yeah. So it is important to get things as right as you can the first time by understanding what you're signing and proofreading and making sure that you have another set of eyes who understands as well to help you make sure that this is the right thing to do. Okay, so tell us how people can find you, and also please talk about the power of me.
Oh, of course. Okay, so I'll talk about how you can find us first. So on our website, www.mydivorcesolution.com. You can also check out our podcast, We Chat Divorce Podcast, which is on all the outlets. So wherever you listen to your podcast, you'll find us. We're on all the social media channels as well, Insta, Facebook, whatever, LinkedIn. So that's that. So the exciting news, A Power to Me Summit in Denver, Colorado. It's the weekend of October 20th. It runs Friday through Sunday. A great, great event. So it's an event where you will have all kinds of pathways to empowerment, to really own who you are and understand the power of you, the power of me. So there will be a divorce track. There will be a track for young moms. There will be a track for emerging business leaders, things like that. So great speakers, great weekend, great like-minded women. Catherine and I will be there, of course, with our co-host Jasmine Rice of she's the owner of Good Things Are Going to Come. And we really look forward to a great weekend. It's incredible.
I'm going to be there. You guys convinced me to come, so I'm going to be there. I can't wait to meet you guys and be part of that event as well. So very excited.
Very excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much. Is there anything we forgot to talk about? I mean, other than like the huge topics that are endless.
No, but to find the Power of Me Summit, just Google Power of Me Summit, Denver, Colorado. It'll come up. Get your ticket. I think there's some VIP tickets still available. We would love to meet you and see you there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Karen. And I will, I'm going to be on your podcast, I think, in the next few weeks, and I will see you in a little over a month.
That sounds great. Great. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Okay. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.